And when she came to make amends, well, I was 10 fathoms out and feeling the bends. We spend our lives a-searching, and all we find is blood and a black fortune. We spend our lives a-toiling, and all we find is blood and a black fortune.
The Queen Anne's War, a war which lasted for 12 years. We were hired as privateers, fighting for the Royal Navy, serving the crown in exchange for just a few pennies. Soon, the cannons were silenced as the Treaty of Utrecht came into power on April 11th, 1713. A peace treaty which meant plundering and destroying enemy ships was now punishable by death. The Royal Navy no longer required privateering services and left us staring into a dark future. A solution is what we looked for, and after a while, it all seemed very clear. The answers lied in riches, in power, in blood, in revenge. The reason we fought for all these years became our solution. The biggest trade route in the Atlantic region caught our attention, mainly involving the New World, better known as the Americas, the British Isles, and the west coast of Africa. We were men and women unwanted by civilization, and soon we were deemed enemies of mankind, and a war with the mighty was inevitable. The British were hammering us all day.
British. Looks like the sister colonies have joined our government to help us in the fight against piracy. Not that we need them. We have this battle won. The more the merrier, sir.
The pirate captain, keeping an eye on the arriving fleet.
Cut our anchor cables! Unfurl the sails! Prepare to move! It's time! Aye, sir! What on earth are they doing? Pirates! Men of war! Roberts! My God, this was a trap! Your orders, sir? Should we retreat? There is no retreating. Nowhere to run. We are all in this now. Fire everything we have! Fire at everything! Fire!
The British paid a heavy price for underestimating our kind. Our point proved, and the message delivered. Whether you are an empire or just one man, you cross our path and you will feel our wrath. The year 1716. Before I sailed with Captain Roberts, I lived in a place called Nassau, in the Bahamas. Formerly a British land, but now a republic of pirates. At the helm were some of her founders, in Captain Benjamin Hornigold, Henry Jennings, and Samuel Bellamy. These men paved the way for some of the most notorious pirates of all time, like Anne Bonny, Mary Read, Calico Jack Rackham, and the unpredictable Charles Vane. And of course, the most famous pirate to ever sail in the Caribbean waters. He loved his rum and togetherness of his friends. To them, he was known as Edward Teach. Violence was as easy as breathing, and Teach prepared every time to wage war. 2 cutlasses, 6 loaded pistols, and burning cannon fuses attached to his hat. His belief in theatricality and deception carved his legend. He was known as Blackbeard. He looked like the devil to the poor souls who had the misfortune of encountering him. The open seas was his playground, and his flagship vessel, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was an extension of Blackbeard's persona, armed with over 40 cannons. She was once a French slave ship, the La Concorde, and Blackbeard turned her into a floating fortress. Ships like the Great Ellen experienced her wrath, while the HMS Scarborough, a British man of war, narrowly escaped her firepower. Even the port of Charleston witnessed her might. When Blackbeard and his crew blockaded the port for a few crates of medicines and the loot from the arriving and departing ships. This act shook the New World. Our new King George sent a man he believed would put an end to piracy. His name was Woodes Rogers. The future royal governor of the Bahamas offered a pardon to all pirates on behalf of the king, guaranteeing them no trials in a court of law if they quit piracy. And on that day, many of our brothers stopped being pirates. But no, not my friend Charles Vane. He held Woodes Rogers' decision in total disregard, setting his own ship on fire and having it sail into a British man of war, while he escaped in a sloop with a few of his men.
Ha ha! Die! Die, you bastards! Burn away! Ha ha ha!
Blackbeard, now a legend, and an inspiration to many, continued with high seas piracy, drinking, loving, and living the life of a man befitting a pirate lord. Many governors and officials in the New World devised plans to kill Blackbeard, including the governor of Virginia, Alexander Spotswood. Not only was he closely following Blackbeard's actions, but needed Blackbeard dead, as he had an eye on his prized possessions and earnings amounting to $250,000. Spotswood sent one of the Royal Navy's bravest officers in Lieutenant Robert Maynard with just one aim: the end of Blackbeard. On November 22nd, 1718, it was Blackbeard standing with a bottle of rum with his men aboard his sloop, the Adventure, challenged by Robert Maynard and his men of His Majesty's Royal Navy.
Damnation seize my soul if I give you Carter's, or take any from you. Let's jump on board and cut him to pieces!
Blackbeard fought, and fought hard. Maynard's men were no match against a physically strong and skilled swordsman in Blackbeard. He killed in a frenzy, conquering every man in his path.
Looks like it's you and
Finally, as fate would have it, after 20 cutlass wounds and 5 pistol shots, Blackbeard fell, dying a pirate's death. Maynard cut off Blackbeard's head and hung it as a prize from the ship's bowsprit, sending a clear message to every man and woman who followed Blackbeard. His headless corpse was thrown overboard, but if rumors are believed to be true, Blackbeard's corpse swam up to the surface as if Satan himself possessed his body. Even to this day, some believe that his headless soul still searches for his missing head. There is always a lull before the storm, and Blackbeard's death was that lull. The inevitable storm was now in sight.
A merry life and a short one shall be my motto.